Hey there, Stampers. Welcome to the February 2025 Global Stampin' Video Hop. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada, and I'm excited to be here this month to share with you a project with our theme being floral. So if you follow me, you will know that I don't buy a lot of floral stamp sets. I was looking in my collection and I might have a total of 5 floral stamp sets. So I am including flowers on my project, but I have more of a technique to share with you today. And we are using a product that I had not yet pulled out and used. So that was another thing that I wanted to do, was pull out a product that had not seen any love yet. And I am using the linked together dies, specifically this one, but we're using some of the florals and the leaves as well. And we're going to create this fun little background here. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to bring in a piece of white cardstock. This just measures 3 by 4 1/4. And we are going to do some ink blending. So my color palette is Pool Party, Peach Pie, and Pretty in Pink. So I'm going to open all of these ink pads and I'm going to use my blending brushes to create kind of my own pattern paper. So I want to change this white paper into kind of like a variation of colors. So we're going to start with Pool Party. It doesn't really matter what color you start with. Just going to tap off the excess and just with a light hand starting off of my cardstock in a circular motion, just going around and adding a bit of color here and there. Let's do a little bit here. And you can make it as dark as you want. I always say use a light hand and add as much as you want, layer after layer, because you can always add more ink, but it's hard to take ink off if you add too much. All right, now we're gonna do some peach. I will have a full supply list in the description below. And also you'll want to follow along on the hop and see what everyone else did following this month's theme. So I'll have everybody who's participating listed in the description below with links to their videos. There's always lots of great projects. So this just happens to be, I'm not using a smaller blending brush for any real purpose. This just happens to be the color that my pink blending brush is. I do prefer the larger brushes. I feel like I have a bit more control with the larger brushes. So we're just filling in the white space. So once all of your white is covered, let's close these up so we can get them out of the way. Then we're going to die cut our shape. And we're going to use this fabulous die here to create kind of like a little lattice. So we're going to take that, run it through. Oh, actually, before we do that, we want to flip this over and we're going to add some adhesive sheets to the back. So our adhesive sheets will turn what we die cut into a sticker so that we don't need to fuss with some finicky glue on such a fine detailed die. So I just peel off that backing and then position it. I always cut my adhesive sheets just slightly smaller than my cardstock because I don't want any of that adhesive hanging over the edge because then it will get our plates for our die cutting machine all sticky and you don't want that. All right, so now we're going to take it over and we're going to die cut it. And you'll end up with something like this. So what I did, I wanted to be careful not to poke out these pieces. So after I die cut it, I took my paper piercing tool and I poked all of these pieces. So I held it in place and just poked each one of those pieces and then carefully lifted it up so everything was still intact. And now what I want to do, I can get rid of this. I want to carefully, we're going to slide this over to the side here, because we want to poke out these pieces, but kind of keep them in position so we don't have to try to figure out where everything belongs, because we're going to take some of these pieces and pop them up using dimensionals. All right, so isn't that pretty? I love just the soft muted look of this. So now I have a piece of white that is just cut a little bit larger. I believe this was 2 7/8 by 4 1/4. So this is just slightly larger. And I'm going to peel off the backing. And now we have a sticker. So we don't need to fuss with liquid glue and have it seep out and make our project all sticky. Our adhesive sheets are perfect for these types of dies. And we're just going to position this so that we have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. All right, so that's in the middle. And then we're going to take, oh, you know what I did? I forgot a layer here. Okay, so we stuck that down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to trim around this. Okay, and now we will cut another piece in a second. Let's go ahead and work on this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these pieces and I'm going to peel off the backing. Actually, before I do that, let's take our dimensionals. We're going to need some of these edge pieces and then some of the full-on dimensionals. Okay, so we're going to peel off the backing here. Take a little piece, and these pieces, whatever piece that we decide to add in, we're going to pop up using dimensionals. Okay, so there is my background piece. So you can see that I just chose a few different areas to add those pieces in. You can add all of them back in if you want. You can pop some up, you can put some flat. It's completely up to you, but I thought that that would work out perfectly. So now I need to cut another piece. You know what, we're gonna make this work. Okay, so this piece, unless this piece is larger, no. Okay, so this piece is going to measure 2 3/4 by, this was 4 1/4. Four and 1/8. I think that'll work. We're going to end up with just a little bit of a narrower border. We're going to pop this up using some dimensionals. Okay, and we're going to bring in our card base, which is a piece of soft seafoam cardstock. I'm really on like kind of a neutral subtles kick right now. I just love the more soft muted colors and neutrals. So pretty. All right, we're just going to use a little bit of multi-purpose glue. We're going to add this on flat so that we've got a pretty even border. Okay, and then we're going to bring in a scrap piece of white and our greeting. Now, because I'm focusing really on some dies, there's obviously no greeting in that. So I've pulled in the Round We Go stamp set, and I'm using this happy birthday to create a birthday card. I'm going to stamp that using some Memento black ink. And then I'm going to fussy cut that. So I've got that fussy cut. And then we're going to do some die cutting. So I die cut 2 of these flowers from some peach pie cardstock. I've got a baker's twine bow. I cut a strip of these from some Pretty in Pink. So Pretty in Pink cardstock. And then this card was all inspired by a piece of this ink blended cardstock that I had on my desk. So I had it left over from a previous project. I hadn't been die cut. So I thought, okay, let's play with it. And this was a 1/4 sheet of white, the larger piece that I had. So I had some of that left, and I don't like anything to go to waste. So what I did was I cut 2 flowers from the leftover piece of that ink blended cardstock. So 2 of these, and then I also cut a leaf. So we're gonna add those to the inside of our card. And then I also cut this smaller leaf from some soft seafoam cardstock. That's gonna go on the outside of our card. Okay, so now that we've got all of our pieces, we can go ahead and start assembling. So I am gonna use some mini glue dots, and I'm gonna add a mini glue dot to the center of one of the peach pieces, and then I'm gonna layer these 2 flowers, off-centering them like that. And then we're just gonna use our fingers and kind of curl them up. You can also use your bone folder. And we're gonna start piecing our pieces, or adding our pieces to the card front. So I'm gonna use a little bit of multi-purpose glue just at the base of my leaf. When I adhere leaves to my projects, I very rarely add adhesive all the way across, just because I want the leaf to look like it's coming off of the page. It really adds a lot of dimension. And then we're gonna add a dot of multi-purpose glue right here, and we'll add our bow. And then we're gonna take another mini glue dot in the center of this, and we're gonna add this right over top of the knot on our bow. Okay, and then we're gonna take our greeting. We'll use some little bits of dimensionals here. Add this kind of tucked underneath here a little bit. We don't want to cover over too much of the greeting. And then we're going to take a couple of our pink flowers, and we're just going to tuck them underneath. So we'll put one there, just kind of curling them up a little bit, give them a bit of dimension. And then this piece we're going to tuck right in here. Okay, so now we need to finish our flowers off with something in the center. So I've chosen to use these iridescent faceted gems, and I'll use one of the big ones on the larger flower. And the smaller ones on the 2 smaller flowers. All right, and there is the outside of our card. Now to finish off the inside, we're gonna take a white layer, and remember these have the adhesive sheets on the back because they're left over from that larger sheet that I had. So we're gonna layer these 2 together just like we did with the peach ones, but I can just peel off the backing. I don't need to worry about adhesive. And then peel off the backing on this one. And actually, let's stick our leaf down first. So we'll put that coming down like that. That on there, and then We'll grab some mini glue dots for these. It's always nice to tie the inside of your card in with the outside. Add those on there. And then to finish off this, I'm just going to add just one of these little embellishments just to the center of this larger flower. And then we can add to this to the inside of our card, and we are done. So thank you so much for joining me for this month's Global Stampin' Video Hop. And remember to hop along to see what everyone else created for this month's floral theme. I hope you guys enjoyed this month's project. Thank you so much for watching.